Hey everybody, welcome back. Northernlion plays The Binding of Isaac Afterbirth. Plus, it's Take Your Daughter to Work Day. Oh, what the heck? I've never seen this before. OBS was like encoding overload. How the heck are you getting an encoding overload? It's Isaac. Like, I don't mean to be, you know, rude to the game. I mean, it looks fine, but it's not exactly what you would look to as, you know... I mean, you know, making the... I don't even remember what video card I got in this thing. Like a 2080 Ti? Yeah, I bought before they did the announcements of the 3070 and the 3080. Life goes on, man. You can't... You know, I've had lots of great times with this video card in the interim period. Zodiac, I sleep. But yeah, it's Take Your Daughter to Work Day. Baby's here. Hello, baby. She's been grunting an awful lot. I don't mean that as like, you know, something's up. I just mean like she's become she's a grunter. I was laughing because when my wife came downstairs to pick her up the other day, I was like, she started grunting a lot. Like when she doesn't like something, she used to just kind of be like, you know, maybe she would cry. Or maybe she would fuss a little bit. I can't believe we didn't get a bomb here, by the way. But whatever, we'll take it down to the next floor. I just wanted that tinted rock, man. But, I was like, yeah, she started, like, expressing her displeasure differently. And then my wife was like, yeah, she started to grunt all the time. I think, like, she has my personality. I didn't know how to take that. But at the same time, I didn't disagree. Let me put it that way. I was like, you know, when my wife does not like something, she's usually pretty open about it. You know, she'll be like, don't do that. And I'm like, okay. And again, I know I said this, maybe this is less than a week ago. The Isaac backlog is like really short right now. But I prefer it that way, to be honest, rather than like, you know, let me put it this way. You always know where you stand. Instead of being like, you know, it turns out, you know, in 10 years she might be like, and the way you always, you know, tied your shoes like that always bothered me. Instead, she's like, hey, don't tie your shoes like that. And I'm like, got it, boss. Under control. And now the baby's doing the same thing. It makes it very easy to fall in line. You know, when the baby grunts, I'm like, all right, no more bounces. And then when she grunts when I stop bouncing her, I'm like, all right, time for bounces. You know, it's a very simple feedback loop to understand. Let's put it that way. Now that is financially pretty sweet. We are doing very well right now on this Isaac run. I mean, of course we are. It's dude, we don't need glowing hourglass, but for 15 cents, it's kind of hard to say no, right? Help me. It's a Monday today. My day is all, like, askew. Like, I went to bed at, like, normal time, like 10 p.m., and I read a little bit. And then I woke up at, like, midnight. There was, like, some commotion. And then, my wife went and she like checked on the cats because they were fighting a little bit, and then Tomo, like a few weeks ago, you know, he had this might have been like 6 months ago at this point. I don't know. The flow of time is like so distorted. He had like he had caught his claw. I'm not spending 2 for a speed upgrade. You must be out of your mind. It's that simple. He was running and he kind of caught his claw in between 2 pieces of hardwood flooring, and it like ripped the claw off. So we took him to the vet, and the vet was like, "Oh, we're going to give you like some Epsom salts and stuff." But for the most part, cats heal like super well. Just watch for like signs of infection and stuff like that. So we check like every week or two because, you know, Kate trims the cat's nails. And then we checked again last night, and seems like the son of a gun got a little infected. So, you know, it's like midnight and that happens, and you're like, oh, we gotta... Obviously, we're not going to the vet right now. We try to go to the vet in the morning. All the vets are like, we're fully booked up. And you're like, okay, so now, like, you know, just a bit of a disruptive night. Which is fine, you know. These are the sacrifices you make as a pet owner. Kate's got the... I mean, Tomo's gonna be okay. He might just need some antibiotics or something. And isn't that what it's like to be a pet owner sometimes, you know? And I'm not saying like, oh, we're built different, but like there have been times like as a kid, I like broke my foot, or broke my toe, I should say, And, you know, my parents were like, oh my god, you gotta, like, get an x-ray or something like that. I was like, I don't know, it just kind of, like, it hurts real bad, don't get me wrong, but what are they gonna do? I've apparently been the same personality since I was, like, you know, 11 years old. But, you know, one of my cats has, like, a little bit of mucus coming out of his eye socket. You're like, excuse me? I need to speak to, like, the chief resident, the head of surgery as soon as possible. So, yeah, I'm on a pretty standard morning duty, but quite tired. Kate's very tired as well, but it's, you know, it is what it is, man. Anyone else get tired inspiration? I don't know, I mean, it's a coping mechanism, don't get me wrong. Like, there's no merit to it. But I always think about, like, how tired must, like, you know, prehistoric people have been. And, you know, like, I wake up, you know, maybe I only got a few hours of sleep, but my job is, you know, pretty comfortable for the most part. You know, it's not a job where you want to show up to work being irritable. They could put you off for the whole day, and I've been there. And I don't mean on vacation, but, you know, apart from that, it's not like it's physically back-breaking labor or anything like that, you know? But I think about, like, you know, if you lived in, like, the prehistoric era, you must have been getting, like, trash sleep all the time, but I don't know, maybe you didn't even notice that it was trash sleep because you had so many other problems in your life that you were just like, oh, this is just another day. Then again, I don't know, I think sometimes people think that, like, you know, getting a bad sleep is like a modern problem. I don't know if that's true, you know? I get the idea that, you know, cavemen back in the day didn't have, you know, like, unfiltered blue light blaring into their corneas 16 hours a day, and, you know, they had much less distraction. They didn't even have, like, any form of artificial lighting. I mean, I guess except fire. So they weren't as, you know, maybe tempted to stay up, and they were also tired from, you know, doing the hunting for sustenance every single day. But, I don't know, there's probably some insomniac cavemen, right? Hey, Og, how'd you sleep last night? Oh, not so good. I had, you know how it is. I had that, every time I close my eyes, I just think about all of the natural predators on the savannah that could, you know, ransack our camp here. Yeah, I know. I had that recurring nightmare again that I was in caveman school, but it was the final exam, but I hadn't showed up to any other lectures. I showed up to caveman school and I was naked in my dream. Oh, that sucks, you know? Oh, that means you're stressed, you know? I don't know where this bit is going, but I mean, I think it went. I think it already went bit. If you know what I mean. But yeah, just, you know. I get solidarity from that, but then I think about also, like, you know, back in World War II, you know, my granddad wasn't in this. This is like stolen valor. They're a little too young for it, but, you know, great-granduncle was flying, you know, Spitfires over enemy territories, probably getting, like, you know, 3 hours of sleep, something like that. He was 17 years old, and then, you know, he lied about his age. It really puts it in perspective, for sure. But then I'm like, Granddad, why didn't you just listen to stuff on Audible? Plus, weren't they giving them, like, you know, legal go-go juice back then? I just thought that was, like, one of the lesser-known realities of the Second World War, is that, like, they were taking, like, legal methamphetamines all the time. It's a legendary story about that guy, the Finnish guy in the Winter War, who, he was in a battle and he got separated somehow, and he had government-issued methamphetamine. You're supposed to take, like, 1 tablet or something like that, but he ate the whole bottle in 1 day, and then, like, went on, like, a Lawrence of Arabia-style vision quest, but came out the other side safely. You can look it up. I don't remember the guy's name, but I think he was in the news because he actually passed away, like, in the last couple of years. Just one of those stories where you're like, man, that's one heck of a story. That's like the guy in Major League Baseball who pitched the perfect game while he was on LSD, but it's like that story, on another dose of LSD on top of it. Anyway. I'm just happy. I'm still on a 1 cup of coffee day. Because I also, you know, as much as we're getting really lucky with these angel rooms, if you consider getting an angel room to be lucky. I mean, in some ways it kind of is. Because we don't have to spend HP, and HP is pretty precious as Azazel when you get to the end game. I actually think I've overrated the strength of Azazel for a long time. Historically, it seems like 80% of the Azazel runs I have, like I literally cruise through the start of the game, and then the end of the game, I get down to like 2 hits away from death. It happens almost every single time, it feels like. We did go to our shop. Okay, take it down then. But like I had 1 cup of coffee. I'm normally on a normal day, I'm a 2 cup of coffee guy. But I feel like there's some kind of merit to like, and forgive the you can bonk me for this one. There's when you're feeling a little bit, you know, below baseline, I feel like there's some merit to the idea of like pleasure or delayed gratification. You know, I had 1 cup of coffee and I got to experience a slight lift. You know, from feeling like my eyelids have gravel in them to, you know, not feeling too bad, honestly. Just like a little sweaty, maybe. So, whenever I sleep badly, I always get like a little bit sweaty. It's one of the telltale symptoms of a bad night's sleep. Little sweaty, gastrointestinal distress. Those are the 2 big ones. It's not so bad. It's not like a pharmaceutical commercial where it's like, you know, increased use of Viatris may lead to your eyeballs popping out of your skull. It's not that bad. I still think we want the Fool. The Fool is basically like a free item we have just stored up for 1,000 years from the boss trap room. And I mean, this one is as close to set in stone for an Azazel run as you can probably get, unless you had infinite range, but we'll see if maybe we can make that happen. And we don't want a double void. Double void is like, it's something you often think about doing, and then afterwards you're like, I wish I didn't do that. Because I don't know what the heck I'm getting. Maybe I'm thinking of like the D100. Double D100, it's a little spicy, but anyway. So I like to enjoy the lift from that first cup of coffee. And then when I start to come down and like, my brain is like, oh, this is how you really feel today? That's where I go, alright, give me that second cup. I remember though, man, like right after we had the baby, like, you know, we stayed in the hospital for 2 nights. Those days are a complete blur. I have no recognizance, essentially. It feels, I know they happened to me. There are photos of the event. I have memories, but the memories feel like they're like memories of a movie or something like that. Like it's I wouldn't say emotionless, because I think that gives out the wrong impression. But it's like, instead of being memories of like I can recall the way that the situation felt, it's much more like I just remember a big period of being tired, and then like doctors coming in every you know, on a variable schedule, like once every 45 minutes to once, you know, every 6 hours. She's like, yeah, I was there too. It was annoying, right? I mean, it's necessary, don't get me wrong, but you know, as a youngster, I think I always thought, like, you know, if I was interrogated under torture, I would be one of those, like, steel traps. I'd be like, you gotta, you know, you're gonna have to kill me. I'm never gonna talk. And this is, like, I understand, we got a pretty good medical system over here, but after 2 days overnight in that hospital, I was like, I'll confess to anything. I'll confess to crimes that were committed before I was even born. Anything to get me a real cup of coffee and get me out of this, get me off of this weird pseudo mattress sleeping bag. I've realized that I thought I was strong, but actually I'm made of tissue paper. But when we came home with the baby, oh my god, the first few days, I was probably drinking more coffee than I was consuming oxygen. It's a blur. I remember, oh my god, like this is probably like within the week that we brought her home, I had run out of coffee, and then I was like, that's okay, I'll just like go to Starbucks. genius idea, right? I'll just go to Starbucks. So I went to Starbucks, and they were like, "Hey, baby. Excuse me, sir, do you have a face covering?" And I was like, "Oh my god, I forgot my mask." And I said, "Oh, my mistake. I'll be back in a minute. I'll be back in a second." But then I was like too embarrassed to go back because I was like, I can't believe that I forgot my mask. I was like so out of sorts, and you know, you're like weirdly emotional in that week as well because like the most important thing in your life that's ever happened to you just happened to you, and you've had like very little sleep, and you know your dreams are just absurd. Like you're like, I can't leave this creature out of my sight for even like a split second, or they're gonna, you know, turn on the oven or something like that. It's irrational, but it's like a psychosis kind of. So I just like, Kate had like a can of Japanese coffee that had been sent to her in like one of these snack boxes. I remember just like sadly drinking like 75 milliliters of highly diluted, like artificially sweetened canned coffee. Look, even as I'm saying it, I'm like, it's not that bad. You know, it's not like being waterboarded, but come on, that's ridiculous. I actually quite like most canned Japanese coffee, by the way. Well, yes and no. I like the black coffee is pretty bad. Most of the time, I think it tastes kind of just watery. But you know, in a pinch it'll do. But some of the like the Boss little coffee cans are actually, if you get the chance, I mean, it's not going to change your life, but like there's a can of Boss coffee that has like a rainbow pattern on the outside. It's a little artificially sweetened, but it is fantastic. I would certainly not go so far as to say like it's good coffee, but it is a tasty beverage. Let's put it that way. Anyway, so yeah, I apologize. Commentary might be like a little out of sorts. I'm in a good mood. I'm just a little tired. You know how it is. It is what it is. Yesterday, I had a great day on stream. Like I said, today is Monday. Even though in my head it feels like Tuesday. Another byproduct of a kind of a bad night's sleep. But, along with the phlegmy throat. Played 30XX, which is like a procedurally generated Mega Man X style game. I really love the concept of it. The execution, I honestly don't think is bad, but I thought it was like, it was way more difficult than I expected. It forced me to come face to face with my own, you know, the neurological slowness that happens as you get a little bit older. I was like, I remember being a child and being substantially better at this game, I think, or this style of game, and now I'm confronted with the fact that, you know, I'm approaching middle age, and really, like, it cost me like $15, but the value was incredible because I almost had like a midlife crisis while I was playing it. But you know, if you're into it, consider giving it a shot. And then Chiblee, if you're not familiar, friend of the channel, Chiblee, got me a beta code for this the free beta weekend for this EA dodgeball game, Knockout City, which I thought was going to be like a nice little hour-long diversion or something like that, but I actually found myself really enjoying it. I will say, look, I'm not the arbiter of like what's... I'm not one of those industry insiders who's like, here's my predictions for like what's going to happen and you should believe them and also like, you know, invest with me or whatever. But I get the vibe from this game that it's going to be one of those games that's actually, like, not going to take off. That was just terrible damage there, obviously. See, that's why you shouldn't trust my judgment. Now, just saying, I mean, I'm always, I find myself kind of, I don't know, surprised by how many people in the gaming industry, you know, are not just, like, fans of playing games, but also they consider themselves, like, industry experts. I'm always like, why don't you just, like, that's the boring part of the industry, man. Why don't you just, like, keep playing League of Legends and leave the, you know, the stock predictions to, like, the pencil pushers of Morgan Stanley. But they're, you know, like, Fall Guys was, like, the classic example for me. I remember complaining about it a lot. that people would, before it even came out, people were like, this game is never going to go anywhere. This game, people are going to stop playing this game in 2 weeks. It's going to be ridiculous. And then, you know, it's one of those things where, like, on a long enough time scale, you're kind of guaranteed to be right. Because you're probably now like, weren't they right? You know, Fall Guys is a dead game. Well, it's not really a dead game. You know, it's still, it's been probably like 100 times more successful than they predicted it would be. But yeah, it's had a declining player base. As almost, hey baby, you made it through almost the whole run, baby. I'm stoked. You know, as almost any game is. That's the thing, like, if you have a take that, like, oh, the player count's gonna go down, you're never gonna be wrong. As games get older, you know, the player count tends to go down for just about everything. There's rare exceptions. People always ignore the norm, and instead they're like, oh, what about Rainbow Six Siege? Yeah, okay. What about Rainbow Six Siege? Hold on, I have to check my message real quick here. Let's see what's going on. Oh, okay. Kate just said, good news. Nothing to worry about. That's fantastic to hear. But, yeah, I'm not predicting, like, I won't be gleeful if it doesn't succeed. I know that you're like, but you're doing the same thing that you're complaining about. Yeah, but, like, I kind of work in the industry, you know? Like, I have a... I'm not saying it's, you know, rules for thee and not for me. But you know, there's a vested interest for me in kind of having a prediction that is right, I guess, about whether or not something's going to succeed. That being said, I think I'll be playing more of it at launch. It just strikes me as one of those things where, you know, I don't know if it'll get that mass effect of people that are, like, super invested and then get their friends invested, and it's like because it's a AAA dodgeball game, right? Like, it's a little weird, but it's not that weird. It's basically just like, you know, 3v3 deathmatch style combat. It's nothing you ain't ever seen before. But, I don't know, it just strikes me as one of those games. There's been a couple of games I've gone to bat for that I really feel like, you know, here's the thing, okay? You know that Principal Seymour meme where it's like, am I out of touch? No, the children are wrong. Most of the time, I feel like, of course that means if you're posting that, you're out of touch, you know? You're the one who's wrong. But I do feel like, you know, the society gets it wrong from time to time. Among Us came out 2018. People kind of slept on it. Why isn't this game more popular? Am I out of touch? No, it's the children who are wrong. Yeah, then it becomes insanely popular in 2020, and you're like, wait a minute, it was the children who were wrong. The one for me is always Magica Wizard Wars. That reduced my faith in the gaming populace. The MOBA based on Magica. It was like League of Legends, but instead of just hitting Q, you could, like, program like, every character was Invoker. It was like playing a fighting game and a MOBA simultaneously. Oh man, I miss it, and people slept on it. You put the final nail in their coffin. Buddy was playing Telltale's The Walking Dead. Anyway, what am I talking about? I don't know, baby. For now, thanks for watching. I hope you guys have enjoyed the episode. Follow me on Twitch, twitch.tv/Northernlion, to be notified of when I go live. It's every day but Saturday. It was a great run today, and I'll see you tomorrow. A very quick one. See you.